Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back to Empires SMP. I hope you guys are having a good day. Thank you so much for the warm reception on the last episode, the first episode of the series. You guys are absolutely phenomenal, and yes, I know the narrator is missing from the beginning of this episode. He will be back, but only for major events that kind of move along the storyline of the server, like some, big events that we have planned, maybe a few people going to war, that kind of thing. None of which has really been planned yet. It's all kind of being figured out as we decide what we're going to do with our empires. And in my case, I'm going to be doing a lot with copper. As you can see, I'm so happy with how this gradient came together. Some of you may have seen this in the thumbnail for episode 1, but not in the episode itself, because of course we had to get hold of bees. And I've been farming bees like this manually outside of the front of my house for a while. I have also, yes, put into action the copper aging method that we all now know is the best way of aging copper, where you spread it out with 4 blocks in between it, and it does age a lot faster, let me tell you. Obviously, there's some wild discrepancies between the copper blocks in this field. We've got some that are fully aged where some have barely started, and I did place all of these around the same time. But it does mean that we can wait for copper to fully oxidize and then tap it, right-click it with an axe, and age it back a stage, or I guess make the copper younger? I'm not quite sure how to refer to this yet, but we're scraping off the layers of age until it becomes a full copper block again, and now I'm just going to have to wait for that one to age all over again, but you get the idea. We're going to be basically pre-aging a lot of copper and using it as our Empire's main export. We're going to be trading it with other people, and hopefully they'll be able to trade us some cool stuff in return. But of course, I want to be able to trade them a bunch of wax, and for that, we need to get hold of beehives in large quantities, or at least bees in large quantities, because the beehives we can actually manufacture ourselves now that I have enough honeycomb. I'm also working on getting honey blocks right now, because I think I have enough honeycomb to get started, and I need the honey blocks for a thing which you will tell no one about because it's a secret and I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. But I've been working on it behind the scenes and it's pretty cool. So we're going to be gathering some honey blocks here and there, but I'm going to start on a more industrial honeycomb facility. I think our empire needs more redstone automation if it is to become the powerful empire that we want it to be. Oh, by the way, I moved a few supplies into this house, got myself an enchanting setup for trading with villagers, and have started on some storage, but we are going to do more with the interior of this. I promise it's not just going to be an empty shell for the remainder of the series. But anyway, as I was saying, the plan for today is to start an automated honeycomb production farm, so we can wax copper whenever we feel like it, and potentially make a few of those candles that everybody is excited about for 1.17. Candles re-added to the game because everybody wanted them so much. I think that makes a lot of sense to me, and maybe we can include that in our exports as well, or maybe other people will be making candles of their own. It's difficult to say at this point, but one thing's for sure, we can automate the production of honeycomb very easily, and we will start on a honey farm at some point as well, because I will need to be farming honey blocks in larger quantities, but honestly, I'm going to split them up because we can make multiple buildings, and I do want this area to be a large and sprawling, almost like desert metropolis, and for that, we are going to have to be a little bit more spread out in terms of where we're building our farms. We can't build everything in one place if we want this place to be a thriving community. Either that, or all of the houses are going to end up looking like they are empty with nothing much going on in them. What do you have for sale, sir? Yeah, not too much I'm interested in. I got excited earlier finding this guy with a whole bunch of different looking flowers, and then I realized that they were just fWhip's reskins of some of the flowers that are naturally in the game, so that was a bit of a disappointment. And just to clarify, if you do see some fluffier leaves here and there, if you see some of the foliage looking a little bit different, I know sugarcane looks a little different, the leaves here and a bunch of the flowers and general foliage in the pack have been added by fWhip. They are basically part of his resource pack. Anyway, I am basically ready to go on our honeycomb production facility, except I need to go to the Nether for the first time because I need quartz for observers. Naturally, observers are kind of a key element of automation, and so we're going to get hold of some obsidian and we're going to establish the Nether portal for this area. And where are we going to do that? Well, there is actually a lava lake over here that's been bugging me for a little while because it's just a giant crevice in the desert that leads down to a pool of lava. A very obvious pool of lava that I will probably fall into at some point if I don't take care of it now. So we're going to perhaps inadvisedly pour water down here, and if that needs to update any of the sand around here, then it will, but it looks like it might have done that already. So we're just going to get all of our obsidian from in here and probably cover this over again. There we go, it's like it was never there. And I think this is going to be a great place to establish our portal. We're going to make the full portal, we're not going to cheap out on the corners. I'm going to bring 10 obsidian with me, just in case we need it for the return trip, because sometimes these nether spawns get a little bit dicey. Let's make our flint and steel and hop on through to the nether for the first time on Empires SMP. And yikes, okay, what a nether spawn. This is actually really good though. I was hoping to not be in a basalt delta or a soul sand valley, so we're already in my, I guess, second favorite nether biome. Of course, it occurs to me that I'm not wearing any gold armor, so I should probably hop on through and get some of that. But at least now we know we're not in any imminent danger. So I'm probably going to put on a gold chest plate. Weird though that sounds, my iron chest plate is about to run out and I haven't got a decent diamond from any of the villagers yet, so we're going to be rocking the gold t-shirt today. I like that. Let's pop this in here for no apparent reason, and let's head back to the nether. So my other immediate concern is getting defended against hoglins, so I'm going to pick up a warped fungus and bring that with me as a deterrent, but it looks like we are on the edge of a crimson forest biome here, which is perfect. We've got nether wastes right here, and I'm looking around for a warped forest because I need to bring myself back some warped nylium, and we can keep growing some of the warped fungus. I also am mainly looking for quartz though, so I shouldn't get too distracted from that. We're probably going to get some warped stuff a little bit later. For now, we're going to fortune as much quartz as I can find. Gotta say, I'm actually pretty happy with this nether location, though. We got lucky. I want to get some shroom lights for various things as well, and you know what? Let's contain this lava source before it gets out of hand. I believe one of the other empires was looking at getting piglin bartering set up, so I might not be able to get in on that game, although maybe I can set up some kind of black market since I'm right here in a crimson forest. A black stone market, if you like. Okay, we've hit the jackpot. This nether spawn is amazing. There's a warped forest right over there. It also continues in that direction, it looks like, as well. And there's a ton of quartz around here with only one terrible lava lake nearby, so I think that's actually a really good spawn. Not too bad. Okay, we'll get a bit more quartz. I really don't need a huge amount since this is all going towards observers, but it's, yeah, we got about 4 stacks on the go right now. I think that's okay. But it looks like the path down to this warped forest, aside from a couple of slightly dangerous terrain features here, is actually relatively safe, so that's great. I'm not going to wander too far afield right now, because of course we want to make sure we can get back to the nether portal, but if I just sneak a little bit of the local landscape into my pockets, nobody will know the difference. And with all this quartz lining my pockets, we get to wander back to the crimson forest, and hopefully the hoglins should stay away from the nether portal so I can wander back on through here. So after a successful trip to the nether, we've crafted some observers. I'm now going to work on replacing the nests that we have here with beehives, and this might potentially be a problem. We might end up having to breed these bees up to get new ones to go into these hives, because I have a feeling that if I break the nests, even with campfires around, even with silk touch, I think if the bees are out of these nests, they still get mad at you. So I have a feeling we'll probably need to load up some regular beehives and then re-transplant these nests somewhere else. So we're going to breed the bees around here. I've got an absolute ton of flowers I can just spam in the direction of the bees, and hopefully each of them will find a mate, and then from there we can start moving them into these new hives, which I guess I'll need a campfire underneath if we're going to collect them successfully, even with silk touch. Yes, alright, one bee just went into that hive. We should have a few more going in and out, and once we start seeing this one getting loaded up with honey, we'll be able to transplant it into our new farm. Nighttime is going to be the best time to do that because, of course, all the bees will retreat into their hives at night, making it a little bit easier to move them. So, in the meantime, I'm just going to keep gathering honey from here and making honey blocks out of it. So, we're going to cut away, and I'll be back once I've got some fully loaded hives ready for a farm. Okay, we are just about done here, and of course I was being stupid. Of course you can remove bee nests with silk touch while the bees are out of the nest, because how else would you gather bee nests in the first place? So I've been placing all of these artificially crafted hives and allowing the bees to get into some of those, but we now have 16 of those hives stored in a barrel here, and a few bee nests, which I'm probably going to end up using just for aesthetics in the build. It's time to get that build started, though, once I've filled in all of the campfires here in the desert, and of course, it's going going to go along with the theme of this area. It's going to be a little bit more technologically advanced than the desert setting might suggest. I think it's going to have like a little bit of almost like a sci-fi vibe to it. I'm really looking forward to this build. You can really tell it's taken me a while to do this because almost all of the copper I placed down earlier has fully aged. We only have 1 or 2 blocks holding out on us at this point. We've got the weathered copper still over here. So naturally, we want a fairly flat foundation for this build. I'm going to clear out an area over here for the footprint, and it's going to tie into some of the other builds in this area. We're going to have a kind of like a, I don't know, maybe a city square of some sort around here out the front of my house, and I don't think that's going to stay my house for long. I feel like it's going to be more of like a temple or just some kind of civic building, maybe a town hall of sorts. I'm not entirely certain yet. The individual modules of the Honeycomb farm are going to require us to gather a lot of dispensers. Right now I've got a few of those. I need to craft a bunch more bows. I think I might even be able to trade some of those from my Fletchers. So we're going to build our first module here. These hoppers are going to be facing this way into a feed line. This is going to require a lot of hoppers, but trust me, it'll make sense in a second. On 4 of these hoppers for now, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here, we're going to be placing hopper minecarts, which are going to be collecting the honeycomb as it launches out of the hive once it is sheared. Because trust me, these things launch. They tend to kind of yeet the honeycomb out once you shear it. But to start with, all we need to do is set up dispensers facing inwards towards the hives, and they're going to contain shears which will shear the honeycomb out. I'm going to build up a few blocks around the hopper minecarts so we don't need to worry about those shifting around too much. And then in between each of these, we're going to place some moss, because I quite like moss in the desert. Of course, it's not going to change color per biome, so we can place the flowers on that, and it's going to look like a nice green environment for the bees. And then we're going to use those to place an observer facing down towards the space where the hive is going to go. And we can't place the hive yet because the bees will escape as soon as we place it, so we have to set up some of the rest of this stuff first. Redstone dust on each of these just to make sure the observer signal will activate the dispenser. I'm going to build up the front of these with a kind of plus shape of honeycomb, which I think is going to look quite stylish once the full build is in place. I'm also going to put honeycomb in the center here. We're going to build up the interior spaces with sandstone, and then on top of each of these, we're going to place some cyan stained glass. Cyan because it kind of fits the copper theme. I think we'll be working with cyan glass a fair amount whilst we're around here. It also just gives us an observation window for the bees. Now, to future-proof this farm design somewhat, because I imagine the shears in the dispensers will be running out eventually, I'm going to run a hopper into each of the sides of the dispensers so that we can load those up with more shears. Simply put a barrel on top of each of these, like so, and then we can load up these barrels with shears. They'll end up in the hopper below, directed into the dispenser when it needs it, and the farm is going to continue for as long as it can. And so with the shears distributed around each of these dispensers, the one thing that's left to do is let out the bees. Now I'm going to have to do this pretty carefully because, of course, the bees are going to try and escape as soon as they get placed down in the hive. So we're going to put one there, and yep, they're out. They're already out. And now the bees are safely in the farm after a little bit of a struggle, and our little friendly bees out here are still working away as well. But hopefully we should start to see, yes, there it is. We got some honeycomb in the chest already, thanks to one of the hives getting sheared. Fantastic. So now we just need to do that a few more times. And so this is how we're going to get the beehives in from now on, by placing jungle slabs here, which shouldn't be enough. Yes, there we go. Shouldn't quite be enough for the bees to escape, and then once they are happily dancing in the center, we can place the other hive that way, replace the honey blocks on either side, and then once the bees are in there, we can place the last honeycomb block in the middle. A flawless system. That should be absolutely fine as long as we don't have too many juvenile bees in the mix, but all I need to do is take this out, and there we go, can replace it like so. The bees are contained. We have not quite released all of the bees today. But folks, I need to get to work on the rest of these modules. It should be a simple enough job to get the rest of them done, just like that one, and after that, we can build something really awesome around this. I have a design in mind that I think you're really going to like. And so without further ado, let's go to a time lapse. Hey folks, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the time lapse, and I love this build. I'm so enamored with this build style. It feels kind of ancient because of the sandstone and everything, but it also has this kind of sci-fi lean to it. It's almost a little bit Star Wars with like the antenna coming off the roof and everything. And yes, that is an inverted lightning rod. Copper is so versatile with the materials you can pair it with. I've got some red sandstone there, some acacia, and then the lightning rod on the top, and it just sets off these lovely copper accents to the place. I'm also in love with the combination of the bee nests, like the original bee nests I was using there, which don't have any bees in there, so don't worry, it's entirely humane way of using the beehives. And then the kind of deep kind of turquoise of the fully oxidized copper up there. I think it really sets it off. I even like it from this angle here, because at this angle, at street level especially, maybe you didn't see as much of it in the time lapse, but you've got this really nice honeycomb layer just kind of tucked away in there, a couple of slabs deep, as a nice little accent color. I love this so much. And inside, I've done a little bit of work since the time lapse. You saw a little bit of what I was doing with the ceiling to kind of cover the entire thing, give it this almost like greenhousey, hothouse kind of vibe, with all of the foliage hanging down, making the bees feel nice and comfortable and have lots of flowers to pollinate, even though technically speaking they are just kind of stuck in the hive modules. And then this is all a completely waxed copper floor, so it's not going to be aging. It's in this lovely gradient pattern. And as we go, I'm actually trimming back the glow vines a little bit so that their age kind of works out in a way that, yeah, hopefully we should end up with some vines that kind of hang down a certain length and then stay there. So we might be able to use some of these to even farm a few glowberries. I know a couple of my server mates who might be interested in trading for some of those. But in the meantime, we have ourselves a wonderful little honeycomb farm. And as you can see, it is churning out the honeycomb. I have enough for so many blocks, or so many waxed blocks of copper. I'm very happy with how that's turned out. And as a side note, honeycomb, as I mentioned earlier, is the ingredient for the new candles, so I can start working with those now as well. If we get hold of, let me see, I've got some string in here for the wicks, of course. There we go, 1 honeycomb, 1 string. Candles, 24 candles, and I kind of have plans for these as well. I'm going to use them in a fairly small way, but I like the idea of this place having a sense of spirituality to it. Not necessarily like a religion as such. I don't want to go that far and tread on any toes or anything, but I do want to have some sense of like the spiritual about this place, and whether it's centered around these kind of like mystical sources of power, or whether it has something to do with something a little bit more divine. I like the idea of there being kind of candles around the place and little shrines and things like that, and so I'm trying to work in elements of that, almost like, if not like a pantheon of gods or whatever, then at least some lingering sense that there is something like that out there. And that's sort of what I wanted to do with this little fountain area here. I figured, you know, if it's out on the street, there would be like a drinking fountain that people could get fresh water from, and maybe the bees and all of the foliage in here helps to like purify the water somehow. And I looked at this from the side as I was building it, and I realized it kind of looked a little bit like a tiger's head, like a kind of saber-toothed tiger thing with the fences here and stuff. So I figured these kind of like tiger heads and animal heads and stuff might start to pop up a little bit here and there. I've done some like statue head building and things in the past, and it's always been an interesting way of looking at a build style, and it just adds something onto this building which could otherwise have relatively flat walls around the outside. Naturally, I have a little bit of cleanup to do here in the desert. I've made some holes all over the place where I've been laying down these strips of dirt to farm the trees, because I didn't have a whole lot of bone meal at the time. And in between clips, I have gone out mining. Now, I know a few people aren't super keen on this as an approach, but trust me, if I want to have the momentum that I've got at the start of this series throughout the rest of it, and if I want to end up getting myself a ton of copper, I'm not going to be mining all of this copper on camera, on videos. It's all going to be happening on streams. And in fact, I expect the next few streams I'm going to be building up a stockpile of copper so that I can start to age it in various ways. Like out here, this is going to be stock for trading with the other folks in the other empires, because I expect one or two of them might come a knocking to see what I've got on offer, and all of the copper stuff is going to hopefully impress them enough that they want to buy some of it. Ignore this pressure plate, by the way. This is a pressure plate I've just put here for the sake of it because, I don't know, I like a little bit of a hint of danger if people decide to come snooping around my place. I stole that out of a desert temple. We raided a couple of those on the stream, and frankly, there wasn't a great deal of fun loot. I got a couple of golden apples and some basic enchanted books. That was really it. But I like the idea of leaving the occasional pressure plate around, and if other people come and trap it, then I could potentially take the bait and get tempted to step on it, or other people might decide to step on it and, you know, risk whether it does something or not. I kind of feel like keeping people on their toes a little bit when they come to visit my base. So, yeah, no telling whether or not that will have anything under it by the next episode. But I've been smelting a whole bunch more copper, and I think our next little project here outside of the honey farm is probably going to be a blast furnace auto smelter, because we're of course going to want to have a state-of-the-art copper facility. So that means we're going to have to be able to smelt large quantities of the stuff. I've got tons of coal blocks from fortuning coal when I go mining. Now it is time to put those coal blocks to use. And look at that. All of that copper I just got, only 24 blocks. The stuff is expensive, and that's why it's going to come at a premium to anybody who wants to buy it. But when they buy it, they're going to find it pre-aged to whatever their specification requires, pre-waxed if they want that, and if they want to just buy the oxidized version of the copper, they can just de-age it a few layers with an axe, and they are able to use it however they want to. In the meantime, my copper field, which I've been calling David because jokes, is actually kind of a fun landmark of this area, and a couple of people have swung by my base on streams and in occasional videos here and there, and they always get kind of, they notice this and they're like, what on earth is going on? So it's kind of a neat way to put my base on the map. And speaking of maps, I kind of want to see what this whole area looks like on a map now we've started building things up. We can add to that over the course of these episodes and have a comprehensive map of our empire. I know for a fact that Lizzie has done this already, but her empire kind of ended up on a border between two map regions, so I wonder if the same is going to be true for me. Let's find out. Yeah, I'm on the border as well. Okay, I figured that might be the case. I figured as much. Well, hey, at least our little house shows up quite nicely on here, and let's see if we can get another couple of maps together to encompass the entirety of this area. Oh, who's that in the distance? There he is. Hello. Hi.
Farmer fWhip food delivery.
Oh, man.
How we doing?
Hey, good to see you. And you fit right in here, actually. Like, both the hair and the hoodie match the aesthetic of what I've got going on around here, it turns out.
You just really, I'm just over here. Yeah, it's perfect. What is... Oh, this one just changed.
Yes,
Magic.
Yes, I've been learning the mystical secrets of copper out here, and there's a lot to learn. Let me tell you, it's been quite a trip. So welcome to my copper field. I call him David, and this is my project right now.
I see why you reached out for food, because I don't think you can eat this, as far as I understand.
Not so much, no. And even the bees haven't really been providing me with adequate food. Like, I want to set up a honey farm at some point, but come and take a look at this. This is what I built in this episode. It's so fun. If you walk into this, like at dawn, you hear all of the noises of them popping out of the hives, and it is so funny.
Ooh. Oh, you have glowberries.
I do, yes. Another food stuff, but again,
you can climb this.
Yes, you can climb the vines. It's not as good as, you know, they're basically like melons or like sweet berries. They're really not that good as a foodstuff either. So yeah. I see you holding some baked potatoes in your hand. That seems a little bit more like my kind of diet.
I got these. I got this.
I got a little bit of that myself, but and now he runs off with my freshly farmed produce. I see how it is, but
yeah, I'm just gonna hold on to this little guy over here.
We were talking a little bit, and we figured out a deal. We were thinking, I've got a little bit of something you've been struggling to get hold of, and you have food which I kind of need to survive. So let's cut a deal.
So, yeah, it's a win-win here. So I brought quite a few stacks of baked potatoes on me. And I heard you had the ways of the Fortune 3.
Oh, I do. Do I?
I've been playing for hours to get Fortune 3, and I cannot do it. Yeah, I'm pretty jealous of that. Oh,
yeah. You might not want to step on that right away. I have one Fortune 3 book. If you have some potatoes, this is.
I got some potatoes right there. There's 2 stacks. How many stacks do you think? And how many stacks of food do you want?
I'm thinking it's Fortune 3, so I'm thinking 3 stacks. I think that'll last me for a while.
3 stacks. Okay.
Until I can figure out whatever the food situation is around here. But that is 100% organically farmed villager teacher-provided Fortune 3 book, all yours.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. You know what? For the Glowberry as well, here's another half stack for you.
Oh, right. I see how it is.
I'm just going, hey, yeah, that's a half stack of glorious, freshly produced, freshly baked potatoes right there.
I gotta say, it does smell very good. It's got like that
just pulled out of the oven and walked thousands of blocks over here. So, hot off the grill.
I did build my place really far away from a lot of other people, and I feel kind of bad about that.
You and I are literally exact opposites of everything.
I think
we're the absolute farthest away we could be.
I think if we're going to build a road to everybody else's base, I feel like ours is going to have to be some kind of like, freeway that goes halfway across the server.
It's going to be like the Copper Road or something like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or the Fortune 3 Road. Not that there's any other famous roads that might work with other enchantment names.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I think Sausage has probably got the Silk Touch Road locked up already, but. Yeah, so I'm glad you were able to make it out here at least because, it's been a little lonely working in the desert, and I foresee a few more collabs, a few more trades, and a few more, potential rivalries in our future.
You got neighbors right over there. You got lovely neighbors right over here. But prickly on those guys. But what more could you ask for?
The villagers aren't really great conversation. I don't know if you tried to talk to them recently. They don't have a whole lot to say, and the pillagers just keep sending like raiding parties round, and I'm honestly a little bit sick of them. You saw the banners inside of there. I feel like I kind of need to get rid of them.
Yeah,
so.
you've done some work over here and reminding me I should probably put this back on.
Yes. Have you been to the Nether yet, by the way?
I have not. Not at all.
I got a really good nether spawn. I come out in a crimson forest, so I have yet more neighbors to contend with. I got the...
Oh, even better. Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
Which kind of angry pig do you want? Do you want the one that means you forgot to wear gold armor, or do you want the one that just yeets you into the nearby lava lake? Because I got both, my friend. I have both.
You know what? Yeah, I'm hoping I have neither. That's really what I'm looking forward to here.
We could do worse. We could be Gemini Tay and spawn in like a basalt delta. So I feel so bad for her. She got a really bad start.
I'm gonna be right next to her. Oh,
your nether portals are probably gonna link up and everything. It's gonna be great, man. But
good times, good times. At least that means I can sneak into her base.
Yes, absolutely.
Shenanigans, right?
Yeah, just a couple of brief trips through the Nether, and you'll be there. Well, thank you so much for the food. It's great of you to come over, and I don't know, maybe next time you come over, we'll work out a deal for some copper.
I can do that. I'm slowly working up to. I'm planning on selling everything explosive.
Oh,
it's taken a little while to get and acquire lots of explosives.
Yeah,
so
I can see that.
I'll touch back to you on that one. It's
definitely
before the wars start and everything like that. I'm really just trying to build up that defensive perimeter. You mess with me, I have thousands of TNT.
Absolutely, so, yeah. But then
see where it goes.
You want to be on the right side of supply and demand when stuff like that kicks off. I think, if you got the supply, then people are going to have the demand, right?
Exactly. All right, well, enjoy the potatoes. If you need more, you let me know.
It's been a pleasure. Catch you later.
All right, I'll catch you later. Time to walk home.
Well, it was awesome to catch up with fWhip, and I think we got a pretty good deal out of that. I mean, the food is renewable, but I could get Fortune 3 very easily, and I'm pretty well set up in that department these days, so hey, not too bad. Our first trade went pretty well. I want to do more trading. I think maybe in the next episode we'll try and trade with as many people as possible and really get a good server tour going and see everybody else's bases, because Whip came out to see me, but I haven't really seen his base yet aside from on videos. So in the meantime, catch up on everyone else's videos, and next time I might be able to show you around a few of their bases. But that's going to be it from me for this episode. Thank you so much for watching the Empires SMP. My name has been Pixlriffs. Please don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye for now.